Hi, this is Ali Kapadia. This is the second part of my thoughts on the Pakistani film Moor, which is directed by Jami. In this one, I'll be sharing my critique on the film. In the previous one, I shared my interpretation. Actually, I'm sharing all these thoughts at the request of Jami himself. I used to be his assistant. I'll always have immense respect for him, and these interpretations and critiques are just my opinions, really. Jami has literally climbed mountains and put in years of blood and sweat into this film, and it looks really beautiful. It is true that this film is breathtaking on the big screen. It is also true that this is a landmark for the Pakistani cinema history. Unfortunately, it is also true that this film is a little confusing. See, there are three main types of film narrative structures: traditional, modern, and postmodern. In traditional, events in each scene happen in the following order: context, action, reaction. For example, in the Pakistani film Shah, we see a government office with a government official. This sets the scene's context. Then we see the official rudely talk down to Shah. This is an action. Shah stays quiet and becomes sad.
जी साहब, सलाम साहब.
This is a reaction. From all this, we now know how rude the official is, but more importantly, we discover the helplessness of Shah. That right there is character development. It makes us care about the characters and hence makes us curious about what happens to them next. It literally takes the story forward. Now, in a modern narrative, these events can happen in any order. Action can happen first, context can happen later, or it can even never happen. The order of shots is mixed up, almost like an abstract painting. This can get confusing sometimes because clear answers about the story aren't always easily available. This is not to say that modern narratives are wrong or bad. You can do some mind-blowing things with it. For example, Memento and Run Lola Run, and even Inception. David Lynch is a perfect example of how to do modern films and postmodern films like a boss. As for postmodern, in short, these are films where the narrative is self-aware, where the storyteller actively subverts the suspension of disbelief by reminding us that what we are watching is all staged and fake.
मैं तुमसे बात कर रहा हूं, आवाज जो मुझे ये कहानी सुना रही है.
मैं?
जी आप मेरे साथ हरगिज ये नहीं कर सकते.
Now, when it comes to Moor, it leans a lot on the modern side of things. See, in a traditional narrative, the story becomes the focus. In postmodern, the storyteller becomes the focus. But in a modern narrative, the storytelling becomes the focus, as in the style in which the story is told. How the on-screen story is obfuscated just a tiny bit, like a painting, to create something deeper and more interesting. In Moor's specific storytelling style, these obfuscations end up being challenging for the viewer, in my opinion. The audience has to decompress quite a lot of storytelling to get to the story. In art, there's no right or wrong, but in commercial art, there are some very basic functional expectations that audiences come with. There are basically two types of challenges that Moor poses for its audience. Number one, lack of context. For example, when the film starts, we see Asghar across the table talking to someone. Just like the example from Shah, this too is an over-the-table discussion. However, in Moor, we never really see who Asghar is talking to or where he is sitting. There's no exterior shot or a wide shot or even a shot of the person talking to him. We're stuck with just one medium shot for the entire scene. Right in its first dialogue, Asghar confesses that his documents are fake. Note how we've jumped directly into reaction without context. We don't know what these documents are and what this meeting is about. In listening to the nice invisible lady across the table, we deciphered that this was some sort of an American visa interview and his approved application has now been rejected.
You're not going to be going to the United States. You realize that.
I'm not worried about not going to US.
So we're given a bit of context, but then we're completely missing the action that caused this reaction. Surely Asghar went through the entire visa process to get his application approved. Something significant has to have happened to change his mind at the very last minute. As per the dialogues that follow, Asghar is supposed to have had a change of heart due to his religion.
I just don't know what I'll say to my God when I reach there.
See, it's just not a satisfying explanation given his timing. It leaves you feeling like there's more backstory here, some more context. Another manifestation of this lack of context is in frame composition, where shots are taken so extremely close to objects, it's a challenge for us to figure out what we are looking at. It creates a sense of claustrophobia that may be artistically intentional, but isn't the most efficient in terms of story progression. Number 2, distracting context. For example, there's a scene where Wahid finally makes a big decision when he visits the railway offices in Karachi, a decision that has haunted him through most of the film. I discussed this decision in the last episode. It's actually one of the few places in the film where his character truly develops. Now, as he makes the decision, instead of letting the audience be immersed in this important moment, further distracting shots of various characters from the past are inserted in between to drive the point home. This is again the film's storytelling style, but in doing so, it misses probably the biggest opportunity it had to get the audience to really respect Wahid. It moves the attention away from Wahid and to repeated themes from the past that the audience is already aware of. Shots from elsewhere are inserted in between other scenes too. In some cases, it makes the story complicated. For example, there's a backstory about Wahid's childhood and his second mother. I know removing it would be like a crime to Jami, and it's not that I don't understand why he has it there. He's invoking a Freudian neurosis and post-repression psychosomatic symptoms to explain the protagonist's aloofness and mistrust that has damaged his relationship to his family. I get it. It's just not working to the benefit of the story. It's working to the benefit of the storytelling. It's adding a layer of artistic complexity to the medium. Given how it's already challenging for the audience to keep up with the story, this makes it less of an asset and more of a liability. I'm probably getting too picky at this point, so I'm going to stop. In conclusion, a lot of this ends up being a matter of personal preference. That said, all of my critique goes out of the window once we call Moor an art film that's not exactly interested in profitability. I am biased because I am more interested in highly profitable films because I think that's what Pakistani cinema needs right now. Note that I'm not saying I want Moor to be some god-awful Bollywood masala film. La hawl wala quwwata. There's a big misconception that you can only make profitable masala films or unprofitable artistic films. This is a myth. Many films have debunked this countless times. Korean cinema debunks it every few months. Even Indian cinema has debunked this. There are always ways to be deep and yet be accessible, to be creative and yet be profitable. And that's really the core of my critique. If Moor is intended to be just an art film, it's a great addition to our cinema history. It's an exceptionally beautiful and deep film that requires some interpretation to unlock its treasures. But as a commercial film, it's complex. In other words, it's a film Pakistan deserves, but not the film it needs right now. Right now, we need to demonstrate profitability without losing our Pakistani brand of deep and artistic creativity. This is my critique. These are just my opinions, and it all has been with the intention of sharing constructive feedback. But more than that, what I hope to do is to ignite your thoughts on narratives in Pakistan. I really think our cinema needs more discussions around story development. As always, I hope that you got some useful ideas out of this, ideas that you'll explore and use in your work, whatever that may be. You can follow me on my page on Facebook. Just search for Ali Kapadia Films. Until we connect again, thank you for listening. Goodbye.